Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on centering girls' voices.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Karibuni sana.
So we're so excited to be here today. I'm Kristen Brent, and I'm the co-founder of She's the First, which is a global NGO that works on ensuring girls everywhere are educated, respected, and heard.
I am Sankara Caroline, Executive Director of Akili Dada. Akili Dada is based in Kenya. At Akili Dada, what we do, we're an international award-winning leadership incubator. We work with young women and girls who have a lot of talent. We believe that African women lead, and that's our primary aim. Thank you very much for making time to join this amazing webinar that is going to be the Girl Hour. We are going to have a lot of good conversations today, a lot of edifying conversations that will be speaking to not only the landscape of girl rights, but then also women economic empowerment, as well as just how amazing this journey for us has been to put together the Girl Bill of Rights and what that has looked like as we continue to meet more people, as a lot of more girls continue to ratify it. And yeah, do you have anything to add, Kristen, or should we pick it up and keep it moving?
Just that one of the other things we're really excited to share today, in addition to the highlight of this hour, which will be learning from girls and listening to girls on their experiences and how we can all better support them, is a highlight on the best practices that community-based organizations can use right now to support girls, compiled from organizations and experts all around the world. So we're really excited for this next hour. And the two of us in particular are really excited to co-host from opposite ends of the planet, from different continents. So we're so excited to bring you in and bring you into this community. For all of us here, and I'm sure for those of you watching at home as well, your work, your passion is on girls' rights. So I think, Sankara, this is probably a good time if you want to tell them a little bit more about the Girls' Bill of Rights.
Yes, thank you. So for all of us, ensuring girls' rights is at the front of our work so that we can continue to advance the girls' agenda that has for a very long time been systematically discriminated or even say ostracized, so to speak, is something that's very important. The Girl Bill of Rights, just to give you some context, is a document that was put together by over 1,000 girls from 34 countries across the world, across the globe. So this Girl Bill of Rights captures a lot of things, from sexual reproductive health rights, from education, all the way to a right to documentation, all the way to girls having say the authority to make decisions for themselves. So anything that you think that a girl requires has been captured in that Girl Bill of Rights. And I'm very sure that we do have some girls who are going to be joining us today. So that's going to be exciting to just hear what their views are, what their insights are, as we keep it, as we keep sharing a lot of good learning and also just understanding where the girls are right now, and particularly during this time of the pandemic that struck the entire world. So I think what we do now, we take it over to Alvi. So Alvi, do you want to take us through the power of community-based organizations, what community-based organizations are doing, and we could see what we could learn from there as well?
Thank you, Sankara. Hi, everyone. I'm Alvi. Thank you, Sankara. I'm the programs manager at She's the First, and I want to take a moment to thank those at home that are watching to learn more about how we can better support girls during this pandemic. COVID-19 has touched everyone, regardless of their gender, age, ability, socioeconomic status, or their ethnic religious identity. But we know that there's one group that is extremely vulnerable to the side effects of this pandemic. They experience double the discrimination because of their gender and age. Girls. When governments around the world moved to protect their citizens by instituting countrywide lockdowns, 743 million girls around the world suddenly found themselves at home, away from the comfort of schools and programs that supported them. Many girls moved back to their home villages, which were remote and had limited access to the internet or cell phone service. Even if girls were lucky to receive at-home learning, we know they're likely not getting to it because of a gender technology gap, or the additional extra 4 hours a day of care work they have taken on since the pandemic started, estimated by the Brookings Institute. With no end in sight, COVID-19 is in danger of undoing decades of progress for girls. From past health crises like Ebola, we know that the ramifications for girlhood is far-reaching. During Ebola, schools and workplaces closed. Girls experienced an increase in violence like domestic abuse, child marriage, sexual assault, and unwanted pregnancy. In Sierra Leone, some villages saw teen pregnancy increase by 65%. In Liberia, many girls became the main breadwinner for their families, compromising their school attendance even if they re-enrolled when the crisis had passed. Based on this information, the Malala Fund predicts that 10 million more girls will be out of secondary school once COVID-19 is over. At this rate, the United Nations is projecting that if lockdowns continue for at least 6 months, which it's very likely that it will, 31 million additional cases of gender-based violence will occur, 7 million unintended pregnancies will happen, and during the next 10 years, girls will be in 13 million cases of child marriage and 2 million will experience female genital mutilation. These numbers forecast a dangerous and grim world for girls. If we don't begin to program for girls now and meet them where they are, girls will suffer. There is so much we can do to prevent girls losing their futures due to COVID-19. Community-based organizations are uniquely positioned to mitigate the effects of the pandemic. These organizations already reach the remote communities where girls live, and so they're able to activate their existing networks to reach girls who are most marginalized. CBOs are trusted because they're from the community of girls they serve and understand the nuances that come with supporting girls in their neighborhood. They have the ability to leverage educated students and their parents to spread awareness and influence others to promote safe, healthy behaviors and share information. Secondly, CBOs take a gender-sensitive approach, meaning girls' voices shape the planning and execution of response efforts to ensure that girls are an integral part of the response plan. Now, let's take a closer look at how local organizations pivoted their programming during COVID-19. In Tanzania, the Girls' Livelihoods and Mentoring Initiative, also known as GLAMI, began a weekly texting schedule between mentors and students on 3 key themes: COVID-19 support, study skills at home, and how to stay calm. They also set up a toll-free number where girls at no cost can reach someone 24/7 who will be able to direct them to the closest place they can find help. GLAMI is holding ongoing meetings with their team to reflect on their programming as girls' needs quickly change during this time. In Guatemala, Maya works with girls to educate their own families and communities and transmit community-level information back to the organization. In this way, the organization is able to track real-time challenges during the pandemic, and the girls are able to translate basic health, hygiene, and safety protocols into indigenous languages. In addition to this, Maya created a toll-free call center where people can call if they feel sick or have a question. They'll be connected to nurses who speak all of the local indigenous languages and would be able to instruct if they need to go to the hospital. In the Gambia, Starfish International filmed skits that were led by girls themselves, demonstrating safe distances and hygiene practices in a culturally relevant manner, which girls shared with their own networks via social media and phone. They also set up phone trees so mentors and girls with phones can stay in contact with nearby peers to share information and check in. They also created soaps and masks for girls in their programs and community members. Last but not least, in Sierra Leone, Project Pekin is providing the families of the girls in their programming with food baskets in exchange for their families ensuring that the girls will not be married during lockdown and that they will return to school after COVID-19. This simple action also reinforces the stature and value girls bring into their families. Many girls are also feeling incredibly disconnected and isolated during this time. To aid with this, Project Pekin provided girls with radio so they can stay connected and listen to girls' programming. We're still collecting case studies of organizations like these who are taking a girl-centered approach. If you would like to share what your organization is doing and be featured, please respond to our follow-up email after this event. Community-based organizations need to continue being a safe haven for girls where they find peer support, mentorship, trusted adults, and essential services like counseling and access to sexual and reproductive health care. As we pivot to adapting to the new reality, there are a few strategies girls' organizations can use to set up girls for success. While schools are closed, CBOs can monitor girls' physical and mental well-being by checking in with them regularly. Whenever possible, they should provide safe spaces for girls to connect, whether that's a virtual room, online, or if that's 6 feet apart from each other outside. Let them know that even if their programming has been interrupted, your organization is still there and listening. CBOs should actively seek ways to continue girls' education during the pandemic, including printed packets of lessons to view with girls by phone when you can or videos when possible. CBOs should also include girls' voices in programming decisions. Shortly, you'll see one of the ways that we do this through our Girl Hour panel. But we'd encourage organizations to host ongoing conversations with girls as much as possible if you're able to reach them by phone, not only to do safety checks and deliver mentorship as needed, but also to get their input about what's needed by them, their peers, and their communities. Girls know what they need. We just need to ask them. CBO should also use the time to prepare a reintegration plan for girls so that when school restarts, your program is ready to help them with extra tutoring or academic support, emotional support, and connections to resources for girls who have experienced any kind of abuse. We need to be prepared for the needs of pregnant girls and young mothers who will have complex needs upon their return and set up organizational policies now to be inclusive of their needs later. We can avoid a second COVID-19 catastrophe if we put girls first. But we must act quickly and we must stand up for girls. Thank you for everyone for your time. I will be sharing this webinar in our follow-up. I'm going to pass it on to Kristen, who's going to introduce our next session, Girl Hour.
Thank you, Alvi. And thank you again to all of the community organizations who have helped us put together that presentation and these case studies along the way. As Alvi mentioned, after this, she will be sharing that deck of slides with all of those who fill out the feedback survey. And you'll see a link for that later on. So you'll be able to access that and also tell us about other things that your organization is working on so that we at She's the First and Akili Dada can use those case studies to further inform our global response for girls during COVID. Now is the moment that we've been so excited to share with you, which is Girl Hour. And Girl Hour is a component that we created with Akili Dada a few years ago in order to bring girls' voices into the room where big decisions are being made, whether programmatic decisions or policy decisions. And the idea is to set girls up so that they're able to answer our questions, they're able to share their experiences, and they're able to really give voice to the needs of their peers. So we're extremely excited to introduce this panel and especially our moderator, Zawadi, who is 16 and she's in Form 3 in Kenya. So I'll pass it over to Zawadi to take it away.
Okay, now I'm sure. Thank you, Kristen, for introducing me. Thank you, Kristen, for introducing me. My name is Zawadi, and I am a student in Form 3, 16 years old. My superpower as a girl is being an adolescent because I can speak up for everything that I see is wrong right now, and I can see almost everything that is wrong. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you everyone for logging in and for watching. And there will be a question and answer at the end of the panel. So you can drop any questions that you have in the comment section below. Let's begin by taking a minute to introduce ourselves. I would like our panelists to share their names, their country, and what their superpower as a girl is. I am going to start by introducing Anjali.
Hello everyone, I am Anjali and I'm from Himalayan Nepal. My superpower as a girl is straight up is being a girl. We have the rare quality of deep emotions. I feel like we feel the most and think the most. Our understanding level is very intact. What I love about being a girl is that I can be bold if I want to be. I can be graceful. If my heart desires, there is nothing that I cannot do.
Good morning. My name is Maria. I'm from Solola, Guatemala. And my superpower as a girl is my voice because I can express my opinion, I can share ideas, and I can defend the rights of the girls and all people. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Now, Zamzam.
My name is Zamzam Kanini. I come from Kenya. And my superpower as a girl is confidence, which is attractive. It brings me success, helps me to connect well with others, and generally makes me feel happy and also create opportunities for myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Zamzam. And now, our last panelist, Deborah.
Hola a todas y a todos, mi nombre es Débora, soy de Aguada, Puerto Rico. Voy a estar hablando en español porque represento a las niñas latinas. Sin embargo, me va a acompañar conmigo Jasmine, quien va a traducir todo lo que digo. Mi superpoder es abogar por los derechos de nuestras niñas y de nuestras jóvenes y romper esos estereotipos sociales que nos ha impuesto la sociedad desde pequeñas para que nuestras próximas generaciones puedan tener oportunidades.
Greetings to all, my name is Deborah. I am from Aguada, Puerto Rico, and I represent Latina girls. For the same reason, I will be answering in Spanish. However, I am accompanied by Jasmine, who will be translating in English. I consider my superpower as a girl is advocacy. That is to break stereotypes that society has imposed on us and make way for other girls so that they can have new opportunities for development and live free of all kinds of violence.
Thank you, our panelists, for introducing ourselves. So now we're going to start with the questions, with the discussion that has brought us here all tonight. So our first question is, what is one thing you wish everyone knew about the experiences of girls in 2020? Anjali?
I wish everyone knew that when we ask to be equal, we don't mean it physically, because comparatively, we were not born to be as strong as men. We have our own feminine strength. I call it delicacy. There's so much we are capable of. We are not pleading for a chance, but an opportunity to bring our effort and best. When we ask to be equal, we mean together, not behind them.
Thank you, Anjali. Now Zamzam will speak.
Okay, so one thing I wish everyone knew about the experiences of girls in 2020 is that there is limited access of many girls and young women to sexual reproductive health services, as well as maternal newborn sexual activity among girls. Beginning at a much younger age, and many of the adolescents have more than one sexual partner, and putting most of them to more risk in lack of condoms or other contraceptions consistently. And you find that these may not be out of their liking, but bartering sex for goods and services or opportunities. Like a good example in my county where I come from, the truck drivers business in Migori County, and transactional sex between fishermen and young girls around the lake regions, which has been ongoing for a very long time now, and there's nothing has been done about that.
Thank you, Zamzam, for your answer. Thank you, Zamzam, Thank you, Zamzam, for your answer. For sure, these are problems that are going forth. Now we will hear from Maria.
One thing that I want to everyone know is that girls are powerful, that they in 2020 and that they can do everything that they want. They can arrive their dreams and goals, and they are powerful.
Okay. I would like to call on Deborah to give us an answer on her opinion too.
Me gustaría que todos sepan que las 1.000.000 niñas del mundo, 1.000.000 niñas que existen en el mundo aproximadamente, tienen capacidades, tienen liderazgo y tienen la voz para lograr todo lo que ellas pueden. Yo las invito a cada una de ustedes a que nos unamos, no importando de dónde venimos, no importando cuáles son las problemáticas, nosotras podemos hacerlo. Nuestras voces sí valen, nuestras voces sí son importantes. Por tanto, me gustaría que todas sepan que somos líderes, que somos fuertes y que somos capaces. Te invito a identificar líderes comunitarios. Vamos a unirnos a organizaciones sin fines de lucro. Si tienes la oportunidad de tener tecnología, vamos a utilizarla para promover nuestras causas, porque de pequeñas acciones vienen grandes cambios.
I would like everyone to know that the 1.1 billion girls in the world are capable. We are strong and we are leaders. When we unite to fight for our causes, we transform. We can all be powerful agents of change, even if we're not from the same context. I invite you to identify community leaders, join nonprofit organizations, and if you have the opportunity to use technology, use it to promote your causes. Remember that big changes start with small actions.
Okay, so these are all answers that we have had from our panelists. Now I would like to go to the next question. Last year, girls came together to create the Girl Bill of Rights, which outlines rights all girls are entitled to, written by and for girls. Which right is most important to you and why? Anjali, if you please.
Equality is very important to me because I come from where my titles are very limited. I think equality opens the door to a new civilized generation. Being equal means that I don't have to worry about hurting someone or meeting their expectations. I can just do things the way I want. If there is equality, I get to make decisions on my own rather than depending on someone else. Equality shouldn't be privileged, it should be an exception.
Thank you, Anjali, for speaking. Now we will hear from Zamzam.
Okay, so the most important right to me is protection from harmful traditions and enjoyment of positive cultural practices. This is because in line with the harmful traditions, we find that local perspectives on female child marriage and circumcision poses girls at risk. At this time that their umbrella for protection, which was education, is currently at a halt. It is very easy to get the girls from different communities who still believe in such practices, such as FGM and early unintended marriages during this time. And then the harmful cultural practices also comes with long-term consequences, such as complications during childbirth and anemia and formation of cysts in the embryo. Then enjoyment of positive cultural practices, we have gender inclusivity, which provides an environment where students' housing is not restricted in traditional limitations of the gender binary, that is the male and the female. They may also show love and live together despite their backgrounds. Thank you.
Thank you, Zamzam, for speaking. Now we will hear from Maria.
Well, one of the most important rights for me is free and quality education because girls in my country doesn't have a lot of opportunities to study. But I think that is not only for girls, is for boys too, because in my community there are boys that are not studying too. So I think that quality education is for boys and girls. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria, for speaking. And lastly, we'll hear from Deborah.
Tuve la oportunidad junto a otras 14 chicas alrededor del mundo de redactar la Declaración de Derechos de las Niñas y entiendo que los 10 derechos que redactamos son igual de importantes. No obstante, me apasiona el derecho número 3, participar en la toma de decisiones y ocupar puestos de liderazgo. Vivimos en un mundo donde menos del 7% de los líderes globales son mujeres. Cuando las niñas y mujeres nos empoderamos y lideramos las decisiones importantes de un país o una nación, definitivamente grandes cambios surgen.
Along with 14 other girls around the world, I had the privilege of being part of the drafting of the Girls' Bill of Rights, and I understand that the 10 rights are equally important. Nevertheless, I am passionate about right number 3, which focuses on the importance to participate in decision-making and to occupy leadership positions. When girls and women have an active voice that represents the issues that affect them, they become empowered. When they lead the important decisions of a country or nation, great changes emerge.
900 million girls are adolescent girls and young women. This is the number affected by not having rights for the girls. It makes it extremely important to talk about the Girl Bill of Rights. Thank you to our panelists for the wonderful answers they have given us. Now we will go to the next question. What rights are girls being denied during this time of COVID? During COVID-19, relief has been focused on providing food, clothes, and shelter. What else would you consider as an essential? We will hear from Anjali first.
During this COVID-19, girls are being denied the safety from all forms of violence. It's not only physical violence, there is mental violence to consider. Think about it. If they've been hurt their entire life for not receiving the same amount of respect as men do, during this time, they are hurting even more. Every day to see their husband, brother, dad go to work, and now to see them every day thinking about all the freedom they are denied from, for someone who has been looking after them, preparing meals after meals, washing clothes, handling the whole house, it's pretty unrewarding. It's actually a suffocation because there are single moms who can afford a meal for their kids. They can go to work during this isolation. They don't have the experience of any ways of earning or even receiving help. So we don't think about it, we don't put a lot of thought to it, but sanitary pads are the most important essential for girls, especially in my opinion. If a whole family is willing to consider sanitary pads as important as food, then their daughters can be healthy. During this COVID-19, there are girls who died and are suffering from bladder diseases because they over exceeded the hours of the sanitary pads. What is the cause? Because the market is not able to supply any, or their families are neglecting the importance of it. The government shouldn't only think about recovering the corona victims. This is also a serious problem. They should let the market supply it or not increase the cost. In fact, it should be affordable or free. It's women's health that is at risk.
Thank you, Anjali, for your answer. Now we will hear from Zamzam, please.
Okay, thank you. So the rights that I think girls are being denied during this period of COVID-19, one to me is the right to access the online education that our teachers are providing, especially the girls who come from the rural towns in Kenya are not able to access the internet, and even if they're able to access the internet, they do not attend the online classes on time due to the female gender roles that they are entitled to. And then my other My other right that I think girls are being denied is the access to some personal essentials they need, such as sanitary towels. And because before COVID, you find that organizations and the government found it easy to distribute the sanitary towels in schools. And since everyone is home, girls, especially those from rural or underserved backgrounds, find it really difficult to access the sanitary towels and are sadly forced to use an alternative such as clothes or rags or skins, which are not very healthy for use. This, as a result, makes them experience stigmatization and are not able to associate freely with others. Thank you.
Thank you, Zamzam. We will please hear from Maria.
I think that the right that is denied for the girls during this period, during the COVID-19, is that the number 7, that is safety from all forms of violence, because the girls are in their houses. So I don't say that are all the girls, but I think that a lot of girls are in that situation, that their father or their siblings are fighting them or are accused them. So I think that the right number 7 is denied for the girl during this time.
Thank you, Maria, for speaking. Now we will lastly hear from Deborah.
Estoy de acuerdo con María y con mis compañeras. En mi caso, el derecho de estar libre de todo tipo de violencia. En Puerto Rico, por ejemplo, los feminicidios aumentaron en un 83%. Por igual surgió en otros países como en Latinoamérica, como Honduras, México, El Salvador, entre otros. En la primera semana del toque de queda se reportaron 141 casos de violencia de género. Al todos hacernos un llamado a quedarnos en casa, muchas de nuestras chicas alrededor del mundo se expusieron a ser maltratadas, a ser violadas, a ser mutiladas. Por otro lado, durante el COVID-19 se le negó el derecho a las chicas que son madres y jefas de familia a tener oportunidades de desarrollarse. Los niveles de estresores son demasiados, sus roles tuvieron que verse multiplicados, tuvieron que ser educadoras, muchas madres, profesionales. Así que es importante, por otro lado, es importante añadir que esto aportó a que muchas jóvenes no pudieran continuar con sus estudios porque según la sociedad, ¿verdad? O muchas personas y el pensar, ellas tenían que estar en casa 24/7 haciendo labores domésticas. Además, muchas se quedaron sin trabajo porque no tenían recursos de apoyo. El gobierno, junto a organizaciones no gubernamentales, deben desarrollar legislaciones para que niñas y jóvenes puedan sentirse seguras, puedan contar con recursos de apoyo y oportunidades de progreso.
The right to be free from all forms of violence is important. In Puerto Rico, for example, the number of femicides increased by 83%, as did in other Latin American countries such as Honduras, Mexico, and El Salvador, among others. In the first week of the curfew, 141 complaints of gender-based violence were filed. By all calling us to stay at home, many girls around the world were exposed to being abused and experienced other types of violence. The levels of stressors are too many, and women's roles are forced to multiply as educators, professionals, mother, and among so many other responsibilities. On the other hand, this meant that many young women could not continue their studies because they had to attend the home 24/7. In addition, many were left without work because they did not have support or resources. Government and other organizations should enable proper programming and pathways for women and girls to have the tools to cope with all the situations that emerge from COVID-19, and proper legislation that can help them feel safe and have opportunities for progress.
Well, for everybody here, for the world, you have heard it. For all those online, tweet and let these hashtags trend. Sanitary towels are essential for all girls, women, and girls' health. Access of online education. It is essential too that girls are protected from violence. Thank you to all our panelists for their answers. And now we will go to the last question. Why is it important for girls to be included in decisions leaders and governments and organizations make? Anjali, will you please kick us off the answers for these questions?
One voice, one decision, one thought cannot build an empire. Multiple decisions are needed. Instead of being chained down, if girls are included in decision making in any kind of organizations, firms, and government, then they can stand up for themselves. They can fight back not with fists but with law. Fighting with law is not a family problem, it's a national problem. This way, there can be no inequality and no discrimination based on genders. If they are able to stand up for themselves, we won't have to host events to empower them. They can be the pillar for this generation and to come along with men.
Hi, everyone. It looks like we've just lost Sawadi. I'm glad that she was able to be here for most of the panel, and if she's able to join back in, then we'll swap me out. But in the meantime, I think that we're about to switch over to Q&A. Is that right? And look at some of the questions that are available. Oh, sorry, we still have this last question. Okay. This is what happens when you have to put your moderator hat on last moment. Sorry, everyone. So let's go ahead and move on to Maria. Do you want to answer the question, why is it important for girls to be included in decisions that leaders, that governments, that organizations make?
I think that it's important to include girls in decisions. Because they have a lot of ideas how to change their situation, and also they are living in the situation, for example, in the violence. So how to change that? They need to express their opinions and share ideas to how to fight it. And I think that it's important because girls are powerful, like I said. So it's important to include them because they are the most important in this case of the violence.
Thanks, Maria. And Zamzam, what about you? What are your thoughts?
Okay, so I think it is important for girls to be included in decision making and leaders, governments, and the organization make. Their participation is a fundamental prerequisite for gender equality and genuine democracy. Therefore, it facilitates women direct engagement in public decision making and is a means of better accountability of women. They are therefore given a chance to be able to represent other girls and women in such higher public platforms. And since they are aware of the various experiences of girls and women, they are able to represent them accordingly and create awareness on those issues. Thank you.
Thanks, Zamzam. And as a reminder for the audience, if you do have any questions for the panelists, we're going to move into Q&A just after this. So feel free to include those questions just in those Facebook comments. Deborah, did you want to go ahead and tell us what you think about this?
Yo considero que las niñas no solamente somos el presente, también somos el futuro. En este momento, los mejores 7 gobiernos que han manejado la emergencia del COVID-19 son liderados por mujeres. Por ejemplo, Sanna Marin. Sanna Marin es la primera ministra más joven del mundo quien enfrentó la pandemia con éxito. Finlandia tiene una población de aproximadamente 5.5 millones de habitantes y al 16 de abril solo habían tenido 72 muertes. Para que en un futuro podamos tener a más mujeres y contar con otra Sarah Manir, con otra Michelle Obama, con otra Malala, necesitamos que las niñas estén en los temas de decisiones y en los puestos de liderazgo. algo, nadie va a luchar y a representar mejor a las niñas que nosotras mismas que conocemos las problemáticas. Para que podamos reducir la tasa de desigualdad, de oportunidades, debemos estar nosotras tomando las decisiones y haciendo valer nuestros derechos. Niñas y jóvenes, este mensaje es para ustedes. Nosotras somos capaces, nosotras somos fuertes, nosotras somos líderes. Nuestra voz es importante para cambiar el mundo. Créelo, y juntas vamos a poder hacer grandes cambios. Por otro lado, hombres, ustedes son nuestros mejores aliados. Contamos con ustedes para transformar la vida de muchas mujeres y jóvenes en el mundo. Cuando esto sea posible, la desigualdad social en todos los ámbitos será erradicada.
We girls are the present, not just the future. Right now, the best governments that have handled COVID-19 emergency have been led by women. For example, Sanna Marin, the world's youngest prime minister of Finland, has successfully tackled the pandemic. Finland has a population of 5.5 million, and as of April 16, there were only 72 deaths. Girls should look up to women that have led so that in the future we can count on another Sanna Marin, another Malala, among so many other women leaders in the world. We need girls to be in the decision-making and leadership positions. For us to reduce the rate of inequality of opportunity, we must be ourselves making decisions and asserting our rights. Girls and young people, this message is for you. We are capable, we are strong, and we are leaders. Our voice is important for changing the world. Believe it, and together we will make big changes. On the other hand, you men are our greatest allies. We count on you. So together we can transform the lives of girls, young people, and women of the world. When that is possible, social inequality in all areas will be eradicated.
Thank you. And I have good news. Our moderator, Zawadi, has managed to come back. So we're going to bring her back in to manage the Q&A and answer some of the audience questions with all of you.
Thank you, Kristen, for bringing me back. I am sorry I had some trouble with my service here, but I am back and I don't think I will have problems again. So right now we have burnt through all the questions and we'll go into the audience Q&A. It will go into the Q&A. So like the first question is, who are some girl or women mentor or role models in your life, and how have they impacted your experiences with girls' rights activism? I guess we'll start with Anjali again. Anjali anaongea on mute.
Anjali, you're speaking on mute.
Anjali, you're speaking on mute.
Oh, sorry. A role model in my life, I have to say my mom, Maggie Dorn, because she started taking orphans kids in when she was very young, and she did a lot of things. She changed so many women's life. She's, as being a woman who doesn't have a voice to speak out, she is very bold. She's very fearless. That's why I am very inspired from her.
Thank you, Anjali. So now we are going to hear Zamzam.
Would you please show the question on the screen again, kindly?
Okay, 1 minute. Who are some girl or women? Okay.
Okay, thank you. So, women mentors or role models in my life. I have Samantha from Akili Dada and Akili Dada, and how they have impacted my experiences with girl rights activism is through the academies and the mentorship sessions we used to hold for the academies. They call us each and every long holidays that we have, and we were able to interact and speak with experienced and inspiring mentors, which has made me have great interest in girls' rights activism. Thank you.
Thank you, Zamzam. We're going to hear from Maria. Maria, you're also speaking on mute.
Sorry. A role model in my life is Malala, because she is a woman that that inspires me, because she defends the rights of the girls, and now she graduate from the university. So I think so she's a role model for me.
Thank you, Maria. We will hear from Deborah lastly.
¿Tienes alguna mujer modelo, verdad, que me ha ayudado? Definitivamente es mi mamá, porque me ha dado la oportunidad de saber que mi voz sí cuenta, me ha dado la oportunidad de saber que podemos trabajar para transformar la vida de otras personas y en nuestro caso de otras niñas y de otras jóvenes. Así que uno de mis modelos a seguir definitivamente es mi mamá, porque me ha dado esa oportunidad. Sin embargo, yo invito a todas las niñas a que sus modelos a seguir sean esas personas que ustedes admiran, que ustedes aman, pero sobre todo que las apoyan a continuar hacia adelante.
Yes, I would say that a role model for me and a person who has really inspired me has been my mother. She has given me the opportunity to know that my voice counts and that I can do a lot of things. I also invite a lot of girls to also inspire other people in their communities and be role models.
Thank you, Deborah. Now we shall go to the next question, please. So, the next question, how do you stay connected with girls in your community in the times of COVID-19? Who would like to answer this question? We can hear from Deborah and Maria to answer this question for us, please.
Buenas, voy a traducir. I'm going to translate the question to Deborah, if you allow me.
Yeah, sure.
Deborah, ¿cómo has podido mantenerte conectada con las niñas en la comunidad, ¿verdad? En tu comunidad, durante los tiempos de la pandemia, ¿verdad? Del COVID-19.
Gracias. Bueno, me he podido mantener conectada con niñas de mi comunidad porque tengo una organización que se llama Coronata Princesa y en ella hemos hecho actividades para promover la salud mental de nuestras niñas y empoderarlas. En nuestra organización, por ejemplo, estamos dando clases de Zumba de lunes a jueves para que se puedan distraer, no solamente las niñas, sino también las mujeres. Ahora sabemos que muchas niñas y muchas mujeres jóvenes tienen negocios locales, sin embargo, durante la pandemia se han mantenido retenidas, así que tenemos un programa para promover, ¿verdad?, a esos negocios locales. También trabajamos contra la violencia de género, estamos dirigiendo una campaña para la violencia de género.
Through the organization that I belong to, Coronata Princesa, we have been able to provide tools for girls' emotional health through technology. We had a couple of people collaborating with us, giving different workshops, also having exercise through the internet. And we have also supported people in different programming and things that are related to economical issues. So we can support people with small businesses and others who need that support during the pandemic.
Thank you, Maria. So we shall go to the next question from the audience. What has been your experience trying to keep up with your education? Do you have any recommendations for teachers or educators to support vulnerable girls? I would like to try and answer this question. So my experience trying to keep up with my education, well, at first I was just it was just revision, doing test papers here and there as we waited for the government to communicate with us when we were going back to the next question. And so like as the period has continued, we've been able to access online classes, but I don't think it's not very efficient, since it's not everyone in the country who's accessing online classes. I do not have any recommendations for teachers or educators to support vulnerable girls, unfortunately. Could Zamzam also answer this question for us? Zamzam. Zamzam, you're muted. Please unmute.
Okay, I'm sorry. So my experience trying to keep up with the education during this period is quite challenging, because one, you have to access the daily internet bundles for you to access those online classes, and it's not like all the time you will have to get those bundles for you to access them. And then trying to keep time at the exact time when the lessons are starting is very hard, because first you will find that when the lessons are supposed to start at 8 a.m., you will have to be the one who will wake up, do all the house chores, and by the time you are finishing with the house chores, maybe the lesson would have ended. Or any recommendation for teachers, educators to support vulnerable girls? I think the educators, most especially, if they could like provide, even if it is weekly internet or bundles, so that the vulnerable girls from underserved backgrounds could be able to access also the online classes, it could be better, because not everyone is accessing these online classes. And if it is if we look at it in terms of percentage, it's a really small percentage of girls who are able to access the online classes, and they're really missing a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Zamzam. So we will answer the last question from the audience, which is, how has your education shifted during this time? How have you modeled resilience and critical thinking during these changes? Angela, would you please try and answer this question for us?
So I am taking a gap year right now, and I'm doing a job. So I'm thinking of studying journalism, because like it's very rare for Nepali women to want to study journalism. So because I'm taking a gap year, my education level is supposed to be kind of behind, but I'm changing it. I'm keeping it up because I'm reading a lot of books and I'm writing a lot, and because also my job is about writing. So because I'm doing a job and it's helping me keep it up. Yeah.
Thank you, Angela, for your answer.
Can I translate the question for Deborah?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Deborah, ¿cómo ha cambiado, ¿verdad, tu educación durante este periodo? ¿Y cómo tú has modelado la resiliencia y el pensamiento crítico a través de estos momentos de cambio?
Durante este periodo, la educación definitivamente ha sido complicada, no solamente para algunas personas, sino yo creo que para todos los estudiantes del mundo. Así que antes de contestar la segunda, me gustaría hacerle un llamado a todos los gobernantes que por favor, sé que en la pregunta anterior habían preguntado qué recomendaciones le damos a los maestros y educadores. Yo le doy recomendación a los gobiernos, a que por favor le provean a nuestras niñas los recursos necesarios para que ellas puedan continuar con sus estudios desde su hogar. Ahora, mi método de resiliencia ha sido distraerme, ha sido aportar, a pesar de toda la dificultad que hemos sobrellevado y que estamos pasando durante este momento, aportar a otras chicas me hace muy bien.
Thank you, Deborah. Well, this has been a pleasure for me to moderate. May our voices be the strength the world needs to put girls' rights at the forefront. So to finish, I will say, go to www.girlsbillofrights.org, internalize the rights, ratify them, and let us get to 100 million signatures. Thank you. I would also like to thank our panelists, Angela, Maria, Zamzam, and Deborah, for their wonderful answers for this webinar. I would like to hand over to Sankara.
Zawadi, Deborah, Zamzam, Angeli, Maria, you are exceptional. You are exceptional. You really are the future. You are our heritage. And we have no doubt that the world for the girls that are coming right up behind you and the girls that are walking alongside you is going to be a better place because you are in it. Thank you so much. So we've heard what the girls have had to say. Obviously, a lot of good feedback, a lot of good, just ideas, and just to listen to girls who are so assertive in this day and age is amazing, like really, really, really amazing. So we knew we needed a girl bill of rights because girls' rights are uniquely suppressed worldwide. Doubly discounts because they are not only children, but because they are girl children. The Girl Bill of Rights incorporated the input of more than 1,000 girls, as I alluded towards before, in almost 40 countries and in 5 languages. 5 languages. The final bill was voted by a panel of girls before being presented at the United Nations at the Deputy Secretary General and the Executive Director of the UN Women. And to just reiterate what Zawadi said, if you want to ratify the Girl Bill of Rights or learn more about it, please head to www.girlbillofrights.org. It's on the banner on the screen. So please head out there. And I did want to just highlight a couple of things. I loved how the girls started to introduce themselves and they were saying, my superpower. So my superpower is amplified by SDG 1.5. No poverty, quality education, and gender equality. It is quite obvious that the world does require a lot of gender-responsive laws. Gender inequality is a manifestation of unequal power and agency allocation to men and women. And because of this, and if you once you head out to the girlbillofrights.org website, you'll find the 10 rights. I just want to go through them really quick. So one is a free quality education which prepares them for the modern world. So the world globalization is happening. COVID-19 obviously is now going to be changing the landscape and the sphere of whatever the world is going to become. And there's one thing that is going to be very, very important and that is going to equip young girls is education. Second is equality. I loved what one of the girls said, that equality doesn't mean that they are left behind or doesn't mean that they are, they're left at home doing other things, but then they're remembered in the course of the day. And I really like that. So 2 is equality. Third, involvement in decision-making and pursuit of leadership positions without fear of discrimination, harassment, or persecution. We all just had exceptional girls. We know that that's what the girls are already experiencing. This is what the girls that were on today's webinar, this is what they're amplifying. This is what they have demonstrated to us. Girls who are able to sit in leadership positions, girls who are able to influence the space, not only even with regards to girls' rights. There's a girl who pointed out and mentioned that it's not only a matter of girls only, it's even boys as well. And we do agree. But then we want to see more women leading. We want to see more women in positions that allow for them to make a lot of good decisions in the sphere of public policy. 4th is documentation. 5th, comprehensive sexual education and access to free quality reproductive health care. The question of sanitary pads came up when the girls were giving their feedback on what is happening on the ground and how they are able to respond to COVID-19. This issue of menstrual health products is really a sad issue to be talking about in 2020. But that is the truth on the ground. Those are the facts on the ground. Girls do require comprehensive sex education. A girl also has a right to be protected from harmful traditions and enjoyment of positive cultural practices. Think FGM, female genital mutilation. Think about all these other things that continue to exacerbate the dire situation, the desperate situation of some of the girls who are not able to, sit in conversations such as this. Girls who do not even know what their rights are. Girls who continue to over and over through the course of their lives even to have their rights violated. 7, safety from all forms of violence. So the violence issue is something that has been experienced across the world. COVID-19 has exacerbated these in tremendous and desperate amounts. So this is something that, yes, we have a responsibility and the girls are asking for it. So it is up to us, community-based organizations, NGOs such as Akili Dada, she's the first, and Maya, to make sure that we're programming for girls and doing it in a manner that is adaptive, so that all the things that we're asking for, all our programs are being led through our gender responsive laws that we are able to come up with as civil society and amplify those to other spaces. And a lady called Julie is going to come. I will introduce her shortly, and she'll take us through what that is looking like as far as Kenya's space is concerned. 8 is the decision making about their body and sexuality. The girls you just had speak are girls who have authority. They know what they want, they know where they're going, and who else to better have as role models in our society for the future than them? These are girls who should be able to make decisions about their body and sexuality. In Kenya, for example, we just had a new survey come out where a lot of teen pregnancies in the thousands were announced by a research that was recently conducted. It is very, very sad to see young girls have to step aside, stop going to school so that they can have babies at a very young age. Girls should be able to make decisions about their body. 9, protection under the law without fear of unequal treatment. The law, as I alluded towards, is unequal. It's, gender inequality is a manifestation of unequal power and agency allocation to men and women. So it is very, very important for us to make sure that in all the work that is happening, in all the public policies that have been passed by government, that the laws that protect the girl can be accessed without the fear of unequal treatment. A girl should not feel like if she reports a case, say even of gender-based violence, that the boy that's a perpetrator or the man that's the perpetrator is going to be favored by the law higher or even bigger in bigger amounts than she is going to experience. That's not something we should be having in 2020. And girls are asking for this. We're in a position to fight and advocate for this. Let's just create a movement. I love how, Zawadi, you ended the gala session. Let's create a movement, something powerful, something that allows for not only us, we were all girls, we're a bit older now, but we just want to make sure that we are staying on the cause. Lastly, bill of right number 10, freedom from exploitation. We've seen a lot of forced marriages. We've seen a lot of FGM. We've seen a lot of girls not going to school. Instead, they go to sit on in the businesses, do household chores, yet our fellow counterparts, the boys or the men, are in school. This is not something that should be happening in 2010. So in Kenya, some huge strides have already been undertaken, both by government, both by civil society. And today, on our webinar, as we look to wrap up, we are joined by Julie. Julie is passionate about redefining the narrative for women and girls, and is currently a gender advisor at the Office of the President of Kenya, where she's currently focusing on issues particularly affecting adolescent girls and policies that could mitigate some of these issues. So Julie, I'll allow you to come on board and talk to us a little bit about what the landscape is looking like as far as you're concerned, and as far as the strides that the Kenyan government is taking and where we are as Kenya. So Julie, karibu sana. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sankara, for having me. And gosh, I think we need to find a way of having more of these conversations and making them accessible to every girl. So listening to you, Zawadi, Deborah, Maria, Zamzam, Anjali, and Yasmin, who was very kind to translate a lot of it, has just reminded me of how much talent and hope there is in girls like you, trying to do everything to make a difference, and with so much against you. So I'm really, really moved, I'm touched and inspired by all of you. And on a personal level, I think it gives me a new level of determination and focus in what I do to keep pressing in and moving this discussion forward. So one of the things I can tell you that's happening right now, the Office of the President in Kenya has just commissioned a national study, and we are trying to highlight what the impact of COVID is. And we need the data. So we've gone into the informal settlements in Nairobi, the city we are in, and we're looking at making it national. So this will allow us to see exactly what the situation is, and we're getting the voices of the adolescent girls themselves speaking up. And as young girls, I would like to encourage you that you have a right at the seat of the table. Your voice, your perspectives, the solutions you're proposing today matters and should be considered and accommodated. I know one of the things that frustrates me and I'm seeing it a lot with COVID right now. You have a lot of studies coming out, reports, publications, recommendations, and with all of them, we're not, we sort of are speaking for their girls, but we are not inclusive. We are not including you in the data collection, in the reporting, or how you analyze this data. You have a right to be included. You have a right, you should be included. I don't think you should just be invited to the launches to give stories and poems and case studies, but you're not props. I always say you're not props. You need to be heard. You need to be part of those decision making. And that's one of the key things we are pushing for, especially in government. So as you've all highlighted, COVID is having such intense impact on girls, the increase in violence and teenage pregnancies. And there's a lot there's a lot happening. There's a lot to be done. And I think what's key and what's my takeout from today is to be able to get your messaging, get your recommendations, and see how we can include them in the policy recommendations going forward. So the best thing you can do when you're young, I always say, is to take care of yourself, your health, your education, your heart, which is the best investment. And I think about myself when I was a younger girl. I think the people who I looked up to are not really those in government or running NGOs like Sankara here. They're probably the girls who were a year ahead of me in school, or the girls who, where I lived, and I thought, wow, I just wanted to be like them. And I'm only saying that because I think you can influence other girls with where you are, your siblings, those around you. They have access to you. They're looking at you as role models, and you can take others under your wings. Also the men in your lives, your brothers, your sisters, and let you be the living example of the power of education. And the last thing I'd like to say is change doesn't necessarily happen from up down, where we are in government or policy. We can come up with a policy, but we will not be able to change a problem if it's not being changed in the homes. So where, you as the young girls are being able to be viewed as the change agents in your communities, and then encourage you to just be that change. It may look far, it may look small, but just take the small steps. And it'll make a big dent eventually. So with that, I'd like to thank you for having me. I think I will continue working with She's the First and Akili Dada on this conversation, how we can take this forward, especially in government, and ensure this messaging, this Bill of Rights are being heard by the right people. You're being included. And I just want to assure you that we've heard you, your voice matters. And in my capacity as a gender advisor, I'll make sure, we take this conversation forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. And thank you for those words to girls everywhere who are here and listening, not only to these girl panelists, but also to, women that they are going to grow up to be and to emulate and to model. So thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Julie. Excellent. Kristen, do you want to say something? How has your experience been today? What are your thoughts?
I'm pretty happy. I'm so excited just by hearing from girls. And I think that a lot of times those of us in this girl space, we talk a lot about including girls in decisions and strengthening girls' voices and empowering girls. And I think one big takeaway from today is remembering that also means that we need to be including girls' voices within our own organizations. Yes. If we're going to talk about their decision-making power, if we're going to talk about their leadership, right, it's not enough to keep them behind the scenes. They have a right to be part of that decision-making process, and they make it better, right? They really truly do help us to improve in our work.
That's correct.
She's the First. We've got 2 big initiatives in our organization that we've just started that we definitely recommend others do as well, and let us know how it goes, share some knowledge on this. But we've just kicked off our Girls Advisory Council. So we've got a group of 10 girls who will be coming together on a regular basis to tell She's the First when they need to get us in line and when we're doing a good job. And we've also got 2 girls who are joining the board of directors, one of whom will be a full voting member and the other will be in a learning year before also moving up into a director position. So that's what we're doing to really just bring girls to the center and bring girls' voices really into our own decision-making process.
Excellent. That's amazing. That's amazing. Girls have a lot of influence, and to hear that, and I'm sure it's very exciting for all the girls who joined on this live session to learn that they could literally sit on a board and even have voting rights, have a lot of influence, learn so early. Imagine if, like half the girls in the world had an opportunity to sit on boards, for organizations and spaces that are so influential, that continue to just amplify the work, that is gender-based violence, reduction, that is, the inequalities that we continue to see, both in the classroom, where, the teacher is more likely to pick on a boy to answer a question as opposed to picking on a girl. So it starts in the very, very little, in very little gestures. And I'm very, very excited. I'm very excited, as Julie has said, as you've also reiterated, it's very important that the girls stay connected, very important that the girls stay involved, very important that we are leading by example, and I'd like to congratulate you, Kristen, on behalf of She's the First, for leading by example. That's really, really amazing. At Akili Dada, we do have a lot of girl conferences, as Zamzam alluded to, during the Q&A session. And during the girl conferences, the girls have an opportunity to, decide what the conference is going to be like, decide some of the themes, decide some of the speakers. But we are heading there. Our board has 2 very young people who just recently joined and who are also our alumnus. So we're very excited about that. But definitely, we are working right behind you, Kristen. We're gonna follow She's the First. So thank you for modeling that for us. Thank you.
That is super mutual. And I think it's a good piece of advice. So if you're a girl who's watching this call and you've been involved in one of these programs, or you're part of an organization and they've been telling you that you have a voice and helping you to be confident, turn it back on them and say, great, I'm so glad that you've helped me grow in confidence. I would like a seat on your board. And for our organizations who are watching, really, really, truly think about the ways that you can bring girls' voices into the work that you do on a regular basis. Sankara's example of having girls help to actually plan out what their conference is going to look like. They're the ones who are deciding what we need to know. And that's huge, because it means that you're actually meeting their real time needs and not just assuming that you know what they need, because we were girls once, but every year it seems to get farther and farther in the past.
Well, soon it's gonna be too late, but we're doing a lot of good work while we're at it. Deborah pointed out something, and she had a call to action that was, girls, let's use our voices, our perspectives are important. We can be heard, we can do this, we can raise the movement, we can begin, we can keep it moving. So it's very, very, very exciting. I have learned a lot today. And as someone who's leading an NGO, I definitely am going to be looking at some of these issues, including like just the COVID-19 response from a very different angle. It's not just about organizations sitting in rooms and deciding what is a good response, but then it's also thinking through very properly on what does the girl feel, how does the girl want for this to be catered for, and what are all the other thematic areas that girls are thinking about, because as NGOs, as you already know, Kristen, we tend to only focus and program for what we are really good at. Yet there's so much power in numbers. There's so much power in coming together. This is a movement, and movements do not die. Movements are not, accelerated by those who start them. Movements, the reason why it's a movement is because you just plug in and you keep it moving, right? So I'm very, very, very happy. Thank you so much, Julie Mwabe, for joining us. That was amazing. Thank you for telling us what the government of Kenya is up to and also where you're looking at. And yes, we're very, very happy to know you, Julie, and to know that we have someone whose heart is with the girls. I really, really love that. So without further ado, Kristen, where shall we move next? Shall we wrap it up?
Yeah, let's. So a few very last thank yous. We do want to say thank you to Maya, who did help to co-organize the Girls' Bill of Rights with us. They're based in Guatemala. And they also were our connection today to Maria, one of our panelists. Similarly, Blink Now was our connection to Anjali. And Deborah actually did serve on the original Girls' Bill of Rights panel, while both Zamzam and Zawadi are both affiliated with Akili Dada, right, Sankara?
Yes, that's right.
So we're really grateful to this network who is able to connect us with such powerful, powerful speakers and panelists. And we want to say thank you to all of you who are joining us today. Whether you are a girl yourself, you're part of a girls' organization, or you're just here because you believe in it. And this is something that we want to keep up. We want to keep working on these trainings and connections and staying connected so that we can all do better in our work for and with girls. So in order to give feedback on how today went for you, you can go to this link. It is case sensitive and you do need those underscores, so just make sure you take careful note of it. But there you'll be able to let us know how it went, and you can also just give us information if you're working on other ways to protect girls' rights right now. We definitely want to hear about it and we want to know about it and share that out with the rest of the network. So if you have other ideas, especially if they haven't been discussed today, let us know. If you're a girl yourself and you have ideas, definitely let us know and click on that link because we want to hear from you. So on behalf of Akili Dada, and she's the first, sorry to take that, Sankara, but I feel like can I say that? On behalf of all of us at our two organizations, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to girls, for being here with us today. And just please do stay connected with us. We're excited to learn together.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ratify the Girl Bill of Rights. We need 100 million girls, and we can do it. We can do it. We can do it. There's more than that, so we should be fine. So please ratify the bill, tell a friend to tell a friend. Remember the inherent power that you have as a girl. It's your time. The time is now. There's never going to be a better time. We're in such a specific and critical time, so rise up. Rise up, girls, and see you next time. Thank you very, very much for joining us. Thank you from Kenya. Thank you from everywhere else across the world, all the way to where Kristen you are, all the way to Guatemala and everywhere else. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful night. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.